Hi, Tracy here with faithinspirations.com from Bible Journaling Ministries, and I'm so excited to share with you this really simple, easy project I used using our latest library release at Faith Inspirations. These are our fall papers, so if you have a membership, go ahead and download those fall papers, grab some Mod Podge, maybe grab something that you can repurpose at your house, and we'll have a lot of fun together. And if you like these type of videos, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I have these printables from the Faith Inspirations library, and I want to use them in this project to create a nice fall decor for my front porch. And originally this had jack-o'-lanterns on it. I used it for October, and then I thought, well, how can I repurpose this and use it in November? Wouldn't it be nice if I could just take the sign and turn it over and then move on with my day? I like things to be quick and easy if possible. So I printed out the Faith Inspirations library fall papers. And you can get these if you're a Faith Inspirations member. Just go to faith-inspirations.com and you can go to your library and just download them directly there. And then just print them out on your computer, on your printer. And then, you can put them on anything. You can use them for traveler's notebooks. You can use them for collage paper. You can use them in your art. You can create notebooks out of them. You could do all kinds of things with them, but I'm just using them today for this home decor project. And they're so versatile. I really like them. So the first thing that I did that, this video is a little bit fast forward because otherwise this video would take too long. And it's really simple, is I just added some Mod Podge to the back of the pumpkins. And then I applied one of my pieces of paper to it, and I used what's called a brayer to brayer out any sort of wrinkles that might be occurring because of that Mod Podge. Anytime you add a lot of liquid to paper, sometimes your paper gets a little wrinkled. So I just use that brayer to make sure the wrinkles aren't noticeable. And if you didn't want wrinkles, I would highly recommend you use a glue stick. I thought about using a glue stick after I was done with this project, and I think it might have turned out a little less wrinkly. Actually, the project doesn't turn out wrinkly at all, but there are some times where I use the brayer to kind of push out a wrinkle that I got. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. So I have another piece of paper I'm working on right now. I just used the bottom of the pumpkin to trace out the bottom of this new pumpkin that I'm working on. And then I could have the nice scalloped edge to the bottom of my pumpkin. You can see here I'm adding some more Mod Podge. The Mod Podge I'm using here is Gloss Luster. You don't need that. It's just the one I had on hand, and I always encourage you to use what you have on hand because why not use your supplies? You don't have to go out and buy all kinds of things, right? And then I just use this brayer to push it down and make it real flat. So I brayer out any wrinkles. And I want to make sure that I can get this paper to adhere pretty well. And the good thing about Mod Podge is I find it to be very sticky, and it works really well on these projects. So I don't have to worry about this paper lifting up if I've used enough Mod Podge to stick it down. Same thing with glue stick. If you used a lot of glue stick, probably take you 3 glue sticks on this one. And you would be able to get that paper to lie down pretty flat and stick for a while. So then I just come in with a craft knife. This is just a generic craft knife that you can find, on Amazon or wherever in your local craft store. And I'm just cutting the pieces away. I've also used my Tim Holtz scissors as well to trim off the edges, which I found to be pretty easy to do as well. So then I take the third paper that I printed out. Now you could use the same paper. This kit comes with at least 4 different types of paper that you can use. I just prefer to use 3 different ones, but you could use the same one if you wanted. And again, I'm just cutting out that scalloped edge at the bottom of the pumpkin just to kind of give my pumpkin a look. Like I wanted to look good. So, and I didn't want to go get a scalloped ruler or anything. I just used what I already had in front of me. And again, by doing projects like this that are super simple and easy, I find that I do more with what I have and things just don't sit. And I can repurpose things, right? So you can see here, I'm repurposing an October decoration for November. And it's actually really awesome because now I can just put it out in October and then flip it for November. I don't have to go get any more decorations. So again, I added the Mod Podge here. Now I'm brayering it out. I'm just pushing down and to make sure that paper stays on there and is adhering. Now, you will see me later try to pull off that raffia bow, and I decided not to. So I do try to pull it off. It's kind of stuck there pretty good. And I thought, well, I don't really need to pull it off because then again, I can have this one decoration for October and the next decoration, just flip it for November. So just leave it where it is and move on. So you can see me using this craft knife here to cut off the edges. And I'm just kind of moving that bow out of the way because I tried to pull it up, but it is really stuck down. It's not going anywhere. They did a good job, whatever glue they used. And I'm just now going to cut around the stem. Now you don't have to keep the stem in there. You can actually cut that off if you want on the paper. But what I do later is just paint over it. So I just laid the paper down and glued it. And I'll show you how I paint over it in just a minute. So yeah, I'm just trimming up the edges and pretty happy with the way it's coming out. I got a little bit of Mod Podge on the actual front of this. And so I decided just to come in and add more Mod Podge. And the good thing about actually having the Gloss Luster Mod Podge is that it comes out with a really beautiful glossy finish. So you can start to see though, as I add the Mod Podge, that I do get some bubbling. It's very apparent at the top of the pumpkin that bubbling is starting to occur. So you'll see me later come in and start to work with that and try to push out that bubble. And that bubble happens because underneath that page there is not enough Mod Podge to keep it down. So in your page starts to soak up that Mod Podge, and as it soaks up it starts to buckle. And that's why you get the bubbles. So if I didn't add any of the Mod Podge in this step, I would have had a very nice smooth pumpkin. But I will come back later and try to work with those bubbles to try to get them to go away. There's a lot of different techniques you can use for that. You can, slice the bubble and put some more Mod Podge in and push it down. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to me. This is an outdoor decoration. No one's going to look at it that closely, so I don't really spend a lot of time working with bubbles. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look through my Arteza pens. So these are acrylic pens, and I'm going to start to use them to add some brown shading into each of the pumpkins. So I figure what I'll do at this point is just start working with my pens and adding some dimension, some design work to it, so that I don't have to play so much with the bubbles, because if I can make it kind of incorporate into the piece of art, then I don't have to worry about it later. If it looks good at the end to me, then I'm happy. But if I'm working with it and still not making me happy, then I'll start to mess with the bubbles a little more and try to get them out of there. So you'll see me do that throughout this project. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with my Arteza acrylic pen and add some brown shading. Now you don't have to do this part. I like it because it kind of creates a little more dimension to the pumpkin. It doesn't look like just a leafy pumpkin. Now it actually looks like a pumpkin. So I just kind of mimicked the design that they had on the other side with this brown pen. And you'll see me come in here. I'm not perfect with a lot of this stuff, so you'll see me come in here actually do some lines that I'm not happy with and then try to erase them. It's not that easy actually. Once that paint pen dries, it's very difficult to get it to come up, even if it's on Mod Podge. So you'll see, I think you might have saw me just a minute ago with my finger try to move that color and it didn't work. So I'm going to come in with a little more paint pen. I'm still not thrilled with the way that is looking. So then I come in, let me just add another line and just see what that looks like. And at this point, sometimes you can get really frustrated with your work, and you can decide like just to do over, to scrap it or whatever. But I just decided to come in with some water while the the acrylic paint was still dry, and then just add the line the way I wanted it to go. And I kind of, pick it up, I turn it different ways, I add more shading to it until I'm happy with it. But you can kind of see that there's a little bit of brown on the right side that I'm trying to pick up with the water, which I'm not doing a good job of. It's really down pretty good now. And I fussed with it a little bit too much, and then it created a little bit of a rip in the paper, which is such a bummer sometimes, right? We can get a little bit bummed out and frustrated about that. So obviously if you do that, you could start over again. It's not a big deal. But I like to work through these things. I don't like to give up. I like to work through them, see what I can do to improve them and learn from my mistakes moving forward. So I just think it's fine. So you'll see me later do some doodles over that. You won't even notice it. So then I come here with my, again, brown Arteza acrylic paint pen. And I'm just now making the stem. And I love the way the stem comes out because it literally looks like a stem. You know how the pumpkin stems are a little rough. And now I'm going to come in here with this Arts of Black. I think it's called Smoky Black. And this pen just is not working for me today. I tried to work with this pen. And you can actually see the paper kind of lifting up from the edge, which means I didn't put enough Mod Podge on the edge. So make sure you get your edges. So then what I did was I decided to come in with a Posca pen, which is my favorite pen to use with acrylic paints. So these ones work so well. You can see I was working so hard with that Arteza one because I wanted to use it. And then I just finally gave in and decided to go get the Posca pen because it just works so much better on this. So sometimes I can get that Arteza pen to work, and I do love it, but sometimes I just got to go with something that I'm more familiar with and just run with it. So you can see me just adding some more of the black lines here to kind of give it some more interest and dimension. Try to get that pumpkin to kind of pop out and look a little more realistic, and that's what I'm doing with my Posca pen. Of course, then I come and do some doodles, which makes it even less realistic, but hey, who doesn't like a whimsical pumpkin? You would never see pumpkins looking like fall leaves, right? But mine do, and I think it's really, really fun. So again, just another way to reuse what you already have. I like to look and see what God's already provided to me, give him thanks and praise for that, and keep on using it. So I think this one will last a couple years. I'm going to put it on a shelf at the end of November and bring it out for October again. See if I can't get a couple more months out of that. So even if I only got 1 month out of this, it was $1.25. Actually 2 months. I would get this November and October. So 2 months for $1.25 is pretty good for home decor in my opinion. So here we go. Now I'm just going to add a little more of the black to create that kind of cute stem. And now I'm just kind of thinking, right? So I'm like, I like this. I'm not happy with the brown smudge and what looks like a little tear. So the first thing I do is I put a little cross over the brown smudge. Now you can't even see it. And now you'll start to see me put the little cross over the tear. Now you can't even see there was a tear there. So you can see that as I'm working through my art pieces, I will incorporate design doodles to kind of blend in things that maybe I'm not happy with. So I loved the circle idea, and I loved the crosses, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do any more of those, but I will come in and do more in just a minute. And then I thought, well, I wanted some pattern at the bottom of this, so I added some lines, which I loved. I thought they came out really good. And then I decided to add some more of those wonderful circles and then add some more crosses. So just trying to get it to kind of be more cohesive, cover up any mistakes I have, any bubbles that might be showing. You can't really tell anymore because now there's just a lot of design work in there. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with how it came. I'm going to come in here and do some little swirls with my pen too. And just have fun with this project. You guys can have so much fun with this. And at the end of the day, if you don't like what you've done, you can always start again. It just costs you 3 pieces of paper and some more glue and a little more of your time. So don't give up. You guys can do these easy projects, and you can do so much with our printables. It doesn't just have to be for your art journal. All right, I hope this was inspiring and encourages you to use your Faith Inspirations printables outside of your art journal. Use them in your decor and just have a lot of fun with them. Goodbye.